What's up, y'all? This is another episode of Healing Through Transparency. And this series is called Broken Men. Last week, we talked shortly just about childhood trauma and molestation with my boy Darius from Brandon Brothers. Shout out to Darius if you're watching this replay. Um, yeah, so last week was very real. We got really serious about it. We started talking about just our stories and our traumas. And this week, just to lighten up the air, I guess, a bit, we wanted to talk about wives. So we're talking about Adam and Eve in the garden, and so I preferred when I got when I got the revelation told to me that I shouldn't have a man at least talk about this. I shouldn't be the one talking about this. It should come from the person that got the revelation, and the person is that woman. So it's just crazy that it's not, people respecting that we're just gonna have men back to back, but we actually have a woman, a powerful woman actually, who's going to be giving you guys this fresh revelation. And I'm gonna just be sharing my screen so that you guys can see the Bible verses and stuff like that to make it a little bit more interactive. But without further ado, I just want to introduce you guys to my amazing mentor, who's like a godmother to me, Natalie Fikes. You come up on screen now if you can.
What's up, God's people? I hope you have your spiritual seatbelts on and you got your weaves and your toupees glued
Edges.
down in Jesus' name, because we are about to snatch edges, like my godson likes to say all the time. We are about to snatch spiritual stronghold edges up out of here if you will allow your heart to. If you are open to the scriptural, biblical perspective of God, your life is completely about to change. So thank you for being here this evening, because it's about to go down. Turn with me, if you will, to your Bibles, because if it's not in the Bible, get it out of here. Right? That's what we got to get back to. If it's not in the Bible, we got to get it out of here. And so we're talking about Eve was not a suitable wife. So we got to go back to the beginning before we can get there, right? So let's debunk some things that would have to put our minds in the proper posture to receive this information. So we start with Genesis chapter 1, and I like to read from the Message Bible because it's like talking to your homie, right? And so we're going to start at verse 26. God had made everything. Remember, this is chapter 1. God had made everything. It was good. And then 26, he said, God spoke, let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth. God created human beings. He created them godlike, reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God blessed them, prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge, be responsible for the fish in the sea and the birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of the earth. We have got to pay attention to this part of scripture because man had not been created yet. Okay? So the first thing I want you to understand is that when we talk about being fruitful and multiplying, there was no body, there was no soul, there was nothing for us to live in. He was talking about spirit, multiplying in his nature, multiplying in the dominion that we have, the responsibility that we have to take care of the earth and all the things that dwell in it. So we got to understand that we have a spirit that is one with God. We were made in spirit, okay? That's why when you come across certain people and you be like, you feel like you know them, right? You feel an instant connection with those people. It's because of that godlike spirit. And for people who are not born again, there is this block because you're not connecting with God. There's something of God in you that's connecting with me, right? But I want you guys to understand that we didn't even have bodies yet. Man was not even created yet. So we're talking about having the perfect spirit, which is of his nature and of his kindness. And it includes God's nature is both male and female. That's why we have such an identity crisis out here. It's because when we say it made in his image and his likeness, we're thinking about the physical. It has nothing to do with the physical. His nature is both male and female. Okay? So let's go down to chapter 2, where it gets really, really good. Please read the whole thing again like you've never read it before. Are y'all following me? I want to make sure before we can't get step 2 right if we don't get step one right? So y'all understand, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down right now? Do you see where we've been off already? Because we identify image in a physical sense, right? We always, everything is image. When the society is jacked up with image issue, it's because we're separated from God's spirit, right? Okay, so let's go on down to chapter 2, verse 5, right? And at the time God made earth and heaven, he made the grass, he did all of that stuff. That's 5 through 7. Then 8 through 9, he planted the garden in the Eden in the west. God made all kinds of trees. They were beautiful to look at and good to eat. The tree of life was in the middle of the garden. Also the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He, in verse 10 through 14, it flows, all the rivers, all of that good stuff, right? So he created this Eden. And then in 15, God took the man and set him, I'm sorry. I know this, so I'm speeding up. Let me go back. It is verse 5 through 7. At the end of 7, he said, God formed man out of the dirt from the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. Man became alive, a living soul. Why is this important? Because we were made in his image and his likeness as a spirit. Okay? Our nature is of God, all of those things. But then he blew the spirit of God into this man that he created from the earth, and he became a living soul. Okay? So the nature of God came into this man, and he became a living soul. Soul is the intellect, it's the mind, all of that, right? So our nature is of God, but we can also now think on our own. We can comprehend on our own. That's the soul, that's the feelings. We have our own feelings. Okay? And so he became a living soul. Remember that the man was created out of the ground, of the earth, right? The earth is the devil's domain. You know what I'm saying? It's the flesh. That's what we were created out of. So imagine God taking this dirt, blowing his spirit into this dirt, but then giving you the mind, your own mind, your free will, your own ability to live and be and do. It's choosing, are you going to choose to do things God way, or are you going to choose things to do of the flesh? You now have a soul to make that decision. That's what you came alive in your free will, but you have his spirit. And then we're going to see how Adam used his soul instead of God's spirit, right? So he created this garden and all of that stuff. He put the tree in there and he put Adam in the garden, right? That is 15. God took the man and set him down in the Garden of Eden to work the ground and keep it in order. So this man now has something to do, something that God has told him that he needs to do. You need to work the ground and you need to keep it. This was Adam's purpose, right? We have a purpose before we have a person. Understand that. And if you got a person before you have a purpose, you off. You already messed up. You operating from the soul, okay? And so he had something to do. He had a purpose. His specific purpose was to work the ground and keep it. And then whenever God gives you a purpose, he has a boundary to keep that purpose safe. He commanded the man in 16:17. He said, you can eat from any tree in the garden except from the tree of the knowledge and good and evil. Don't eat from it. The moment you eat from the tree, you're dead. Now, we know he didn't drop dead. What he's talking about is the separation between his spirit, right? Now you're going to be overtaken by sin. You're going to be open up to you ain't gonna have no boundaries in this flesh that you're in with the soul that you have. You're going to be thinking on your own, doing your own thing, your own way, the way that you want to do it. The moment that you eat of this. So don't eat of it. Okay. And he was like, all right. So gave him my spirit, check. Created him from the ground, put him in his flesh, boom. And now I gave him free will, made him a living soul. Cool. Gave him a purpose. All right. And then I gave him the boundaries. Bet. Now in 18, God says, now that all of those things are in order, God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I'll make him a helper, a companion. This is the first time in scripture that we were introduced to companionship and what God believes companionship to be. This is the part that I really want you to get. He said, it's not good for man to be alone. This is such an overused verse that is so inaccurate. I will make him a helper and a companion. So God formed from the dirt of the ground all the animals of the field and the birds of the air. I need y'all to take that in for a minute, because y'all thought when he said it's not good for man to be alone, that he put him to sleep and created Eve, right or wrong? Let me hear what y'all got to say in the chat. Did you know that when God had a companion in mind for Adam, that he made the animals? Talk back to me. I need to know before we go any further forward. Talk back to me. I need to know where you're at. It is not good for man to be alone. I'll make him a helper, a companion. Thank you. I thought it was a woman. I thought it was the woman. Whole time it was in Genesis, the whole time, right? Companionship. Why did he, mind blown, heard this all my life. Why did he make animals? That's what I want you to think. He said it's not good for him to be alone. Why was the next thing that God made animals? Okay. So he brought them to the man to see what he would name them. God takes things and he presents it to us. He just presents it to us and sees what we're going to call it, right? Whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. Whatever you say that it is. You know, this is not for me. This ain't it. That ain't it. I don't want this. This ain't it. God presents things to you, whatever the man named it. He named the cattle. He named the birds. He the one to call an alligator, alligator. He's the one to call a donkey, a donkey. He named all the animals. But check this out. He didn't find a suitable companion. He didn't find a suitable companion. So God gives you what he has ordained as your companion. But you look at it and you're like, not tall enough, credit not good enough. Nope. I don't like the way it walked. Nope, that's not it right there. Nope. That's not the job. That's not the car. That's not, nope, none of that. That's what we do. Nope, that's not it. Why did God create the animals? You know why? Because Adam's purpose was to man the garden. Who better to help you man the garden than a donkey pulling some wood, than a monkey running things from one side to the next? You know, y'all, does that make sense to you? If Adam was an artist, God would have gave him canvas. He would have gave him paintbrushes. He would have gave, because that is a suitable helper, a companion to him. And when he brings people in your life, you sitting here trying to get booed up, and that person is here to help you. Companionship is to help push the purpose forward. We're trying to get booed up and married and you know, oh, that's my wife and all that other stuff. And you're going to see how we got it all messed up. Everything that God does is to fulfill his purpose. So you have to get clear about what your purpose is, what your suitable, what your ability to help, your capacity to help is. And when that man comes into your life, you know what I'm saying? Can you pull wood? You know what I'm saying? Can you help man the garden? Can you help produce? Can you help market? Can you help? What is that man's purpose? And are you a helper to him? And if so, be a helper. That's all God is asking you to do, because everything went left. Once Adam was like, this ain't it. Everything went left. So in 21, God put the man in a deep sleep, and it had to be deep, right? Because he can't have him seeing how he creates women. You know what I'm saying? Or man would be out here creating women. He puts him in a deep sleep. And as he slept, I want y'all to pay attention to the fact that the man was sleeping. I don't understand why he don't get that I'm the one for him. Because he sleep, honey. He sleep. He sleep. He can't see. He got a seeing problem. Remember, he couldn't find what was suitable. He couldn't see because he sleep. He sleep. And as he slept, he removed one of his ribs and replaced it with flesh. Please hold on to y'all weaves, wigs, add-ons, all of that. He removed one of his ribs. When you remove something, it creates a void. It means something is missing. Women did not come into the world with a void. Man did. And guess what God replaced it with? Flesh. So when you wonder why, you really need to investigate what a man is coming to you for, because he is more sexually active when his voids are kicking up inside of him. When he got a void going on, he wants to operate in his flesh because something is missing. And his desire is to connect with flesh because the flesh was replaced. If I can just get flesh, then maybe the void will go away. Because of the fallen nature of man, the flesh was replaced. So the flesh doesn't get activated until he falls, but that's what he replaced it with, was flesh. So the void is there, the flesh is there. Then God used the rib. So what he took out of Adam, he put into the woman. He put into the woman for the man to want to fill that void with, is that my rib? Is that my rib? Remember, this is God's perfect will. Is that don't go out there and get you a booty call. Don't go out there and get you some flesh when you feel a void. Align with your purpose and find someone or something that is suitable for you to help fill that void. And if you don't, then you're going to pursue your flesh. He took that rib and created the woman and presented her to the man. This is where he goes bonkers. The man says, oh, hey, yo, shorty. Oh, snap. Finally, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Yup, that's wifey right there. I'm gonna name a woman. She was made from man. Therefore, a man leaves his father and his mother, embraces his wife. Oh, that's her right there. And they became one flesh. The two of them, the man and his wife, were naked, but they felt no shame. He just went, you mine. Yup, you right there. That's what I want. That's it. That's what I needed. That's what I wanted. That's it. Flesh of my flesh, bone in my bone. Notice he started with the outer. He started with the flesh because that's what was right there. He's looking for something physical that's like him versus someone who is spiritual like God. I want you to catch that. I want you to catch that. He wanted something physical that was of the flesh. Remember, he replaced, he has this void now in his flesh, so he can relate to the flesh. But he wasn't attracted to that of the spirit. Eve was never a suitable wife for him. She was flesh. She was flesh. And I want you to pay attention to, if you go to, first, I want you to understand what's going on in the garden right now, okay? Both Adam and, both God and the enemy, the serpent was there. And they're watching how this man is responding to the woman and immediately saw the power of a woman. That in this fleshly suit, she will be the most powerful being. Why? Because she has influence. And that influence plays out as we get into chapter 3. So before we get there, I want you, do y'all see the difference between connecting to flesh outside of the spirit, how it's totally different, and how Eve was never suitable, that was not God's perfect will for him. It was not even the next thing for him. And so God's first thing was, let me give you the resources that you need in order to fulfill your purpose. He's looking at the resources and saying, no, that's not it. All God cares about is getting his purpose fulfilled. So he's like, okay, well, you're not going to pursue your purpose and use what I'm giving you, the resources. So I'm going to make woman. And he responds to the woman, is like, okay, well, now the woman can help him fulfill his purpose. That's what a woman is. That's why we're called helpers. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I need y'all to talk back to me in the chat so that I know to move on. He was connected to the flesh. I want you to pay attention to the dialogue. When he came up out of his sleep, he did not go to the Father and say, well, what do you want me to do with this? When he presented the animals to him, he started naming them, but he never said, well, what do you want me to do with this? He never inquired of the Lord what he was supposed to do with what was presented to him. He presented the animals in the same way that he presented the woman. But because he saw what he wanted to see, because he has a seeing problem. He has a communication problem. He went and picked up what was bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. Right? All right. I want you to also pay attention to how woman entered the world, right? The very first voice that she heard was not God's voice. It was the man telling her who she was. Telling her who she was. And so now let's go down to chapter 3. And the second voice that she hears is the serpent questioning what she knows. So the serpent was clever, more clever than any wild animal God had made. He spoke to the woman. Do I understand that God told you not to eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, not at all. We can eat from the trees in the garden. It's only about the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, don't eat from. Don't even touch it or you'll die. So she knew. Adam told her, right? He had to have, not at all. We can eat from the trees in the garden. It's only about the tree in the middle of the garden that he said, don't eat from it, right? So he had to have a conversation with Adam. She had to have a conversation with Adam to know that not to touch it. And she knew, right? So when you get with a man and he tells you that this is what God has for me to do, and you start steering him in the wrong direction, and then you want to make him a bad man, we got to check that. First of all, did you ask him what God told him that he's supposed to be doing so that you can hold that? And if he tells you what that is, are you holding him to what God said? Or are you doing what Eve says, which is, we'll get to seeing it and being like, oh, I know that's what God said, but the way this looked, the way this contract looked, the way this condo looked, the way this trip looked, this job looked, right? So the serpent said, you won't die. God knows that the moment you eat from that tree, you'll see what's really going on. You'll be just like God, knowing everything, ranging all the way from good to evil. And here's the problem with the woman who is not suitable. When the woman saw that the tree looked like good eating and realized what she would get out of it, she'd know everything. She took and ate the fruit and then gave some to her husband, and he ate. This is one of the most powerful scriptures, and it's not even like coming down on Eve for real, because Eve represents the majority of women who do not seek what God has to say. The majority of women who are sitting out here listening to what this social influencer or that person is saying, for the woman who looks and sees, oh, this will make our life better. Oh, he's driving a good car. Oh, he has nice house, good credit. Like she sees this. Meanwhile, there's dude over here, good, godly man, patient man, taking his time, getting his life together, always constantly before God, locked in no matter what trials or tribulations God takes him through, right? And you got him parked over here like, oh no, this is it. This guy over here, this over there. This is because of this verse right here. She realized that this was going to advance her in some sort of way. She realized that she could get her husband to do whatever she wanted him to do versus what God wanted him to do. How you know that? Because she never, ever had a conversation with God about him. Never, not one time. And so I want you to see the real war that's going on, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Immediately, the two of them did see what's really going on, saw themselves naked. They sewed fig leaves together as a makeshift clothes for themselves. They saw each other naked. That's when all of the sexual craziness started coming in. They was like, ooh, that's a titty. Ooh, that's a dangling. Ooh, like, ooh, I want to know what that is, right? That's why he said, do not touch the tree. You're going to activate sin. And then when they heard the sound of God strolling in the garden in the evening breeze, the man and his wife hid in the trees of the garden, hid from God. So now the man ain't talking to God. He got a whole purpose that God gave to him, didn't use the resources, and now he made this woman his wife, and now he's hiding. And she hiding too. God called the man. He didn't call the woman. Why he didn't call the woman? Because he formed man. Man is the head. I don't care what society is telling you. I don't care what is, oh, we got the right. Yes, the Bible also says everything is permissible, but ain't everything you're supposed to do. Okay? The man is the head. He went to the man and asked the man, where are you? You the one I formed, you the one I gave the purpose to. You are the one, and I'm calling you. The very first thing that he said was, I heard you in the garden and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid. Right? He was like, I know something ain't right. I know something ain't right. Now I'm aware. It's almost like you got to mess up to realize that you and God, something ain't right with you and God. Something is off. Like you got to absolutely mess up. How about you talk to him every day? How about you ask him for his guidance and stuff before you make decisions? Why didn't he go back and ask God? You said the tree in the middle, right? No, he listened to his wife. God said, who told you? Who you've been talking to? What YouTube videos you've been watching? Who books you reading? Who you hanging out with? Who's in your ear? You know, who's all up in there? How do you even know anything outside of what I said to you? Where you get that from? Did you eat from the tree I told you not to eat from? The man said, the woman you gave me as a companion, she gave me fruit from the tree. Yes, I ate it. Did God give the woman as a companion? Was that his perfect will? No, he gave the animals as his companion. The man chose the woman as his companion. I need you to get that. If you are a singer, if you are a dancer, if you are an actress, if you are a doctor, if you are a dentist, whatever you are, God is going to give you the books. He's going to give you the internships and the scholarships. He's going to give you study partners. He's going to give you scene partners. He's going to give you whatever is going to develop your craft, whatever is going to move you into that space. He's going to provide that for you. Resources come through people. If you are a farmer, he's very much going to make sure you get a tractor trailer and that you have seeds and all that type of stuff. The person who delivers the seeds may be a woman or a man, right? Because we are God's resources. But he never said that you're supposed to take this woman as your wife in order to fulfill the purpose that I have for you. He never said that. So now he wants to beef with God that he never asked about, never talked to. He presented the animals in the same way that he presented the woman. He made a choice. And he said, you are the one. Man's fallen nature is to make a decision and then blame. That's man's fallen nature. Make a decision and then blame. The woman you gave me, you the one that sent her. And then so the woman says, God said to the woman, scroll up. Scroll up or down, up or down, up. God said to the woman, what is this that you've done? And she says, the serpent seduced me and said, she said, and I ate. So God said, okay. So first of all, Adam disobeyed. He just straight disobeyed. God told him something and he didn't do it. The woman was deceived. She was seduced. And that's things that we need to understand is that when it comes to the things that we want and what we look at and things of that nature, we got to seek God because it's very easy for us to be seduced and deceived. And when we seduce and deceive, we pass that on to the man. We are the major influence on this earth. And that's why Eve was not suitable, because she was not in one with his spirit. She was not in one with his spirit. And that's why for a man to truly connect with a wife, he has to hear from a spirit. Remember, God did not blow his spirit into the man. He didn't blow his spirit into the man. He created out of the man the spirit that was already blown into him. He created her out of that. But that the initial, not the fresh breath of God was blown into the man. He carries the vision, the purpose, and it's through God's spirit that he finds his rib. Only through his spirit. If he don't hear from the spirit, he is going to get her from his flesh. Because she never activated her spirit by having a conversation with him, with God. So here's the real issue that we have, and then we'll open up. God told the serpent, because you've done this, you're cursed beyond all cattle, wild animals, cursed to slink on your belly, to eat dirt all your life. We were made from dirt. We were made from dirt. So his thing is to come after us. And this is where God said, I am declaring war between you and the woman, not the man. There's not a war on man. There's a war on woman between your offspring and hers. The war is between the woman and her offspring. Why? Because the enemy wants the seed. He wants to kill the seed. And the woman, because the woman is the greatest influence walking in these earth suits. The woman is the one who births the children. She is the one that is responsible for shaping the hearts of the children and stuff. And if the enemy can get her to influence those children to be corrupt and trifling and not listen to God and want to please her and don't say nothing bad about mama, I don't care, I ain't never gonna, whatever my mama say do, even if it's to ask for the head of John the Baptist when he is a good man, I'm still gonna do it because my mom has that influence. The woman has that influence. If he can get the woman, and if he can get the woman to be disrespectful and rude to a man can't come back. Men ain't built for it. That's where the beef is. It's the women are here to take the man out. That's a woman that's not suitable to be a man's wife. A woman who is suitable to be a man's wife, there's so many scriptures about a wife. The Bible says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. You're a wife before you become his wife if you're suitable. You're a wife. You have worked on these broken issues. You've worked on making sure that you hear God's will. You've worked on your lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. You hold on to those things like, oh, I want it so bad. But guess what? Nope, I gotta wait. God didn't say. You're not following your flesh, you're following your spirit. You're not sitting here listening to some man telling you who you are. Because he told the woman that she's going to multiply in childbirth and all that other stuff. And you're going to have pain, and all you're ever going to want to do is to please your husband, and he is going to lord it over you. You lose your everything, your whole identity, everything is gone. The man that you want to listen to all the time, okay, that's who you want. You're going to try so hard to please him, and he's going to be over you. Y'all, this is a ghetto relationship that Adam and Eve has at this point. A ghetto relationship. This is not God's perfect will for husband and wife. It's not. So let's open up from here and let's talk it out. Dang, that was 16 minutes. That's it. Jesus.
Man, that was so good. Just hearing it again for the second time. Wow.
Why weren't we taught this? Why were we not taught? This is the basic. This is Bible. That was Bible, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was absolute Bible. But doesn't it make sense as to why the world is the way that it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole hot mess. So if we could get man to say, oh, women this, and women to say, oh, man that, and go through all of that and not realize that our issue is really against the enemy who come to kill, steal, and destroy, and that we need to get into the Bible. We need to get into the Bible and really get it together, get our flesh under control, and really know what we're operating with. Because as a woman, the Bible even says that the wife can win her husband over through her behavior. Mm. We're powerful.
That's super powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I did have a question. You had said, let me see, pull up record. Yeah, you had said find someone or something So can you elaborate on the something part? Because I don't want men to just think like by something you mean like a sex toy or something. You know what I'm saying? So.
You have to know what your purpose is. Like I said, if
Hmm.
you are, the best thing a woman could ever do is to be that someone or something that that man needs without anything. Like, I don't want nothing from you. I see this purpose in you, and I know that I can help you. And so I'm going to use my resources, the gift that God gave me, to help you in some sort of way. And if you really pay attention to a man, you wonder, well, how he get with her? Ugh. She was there for him. She helped him get where he needed to go, helped him to fulfill the vision that God had given him. And that's why he looked over and was like, yo, it's her.
Yeah.
Yup. So that someone or something is, you wonder why a husband will cheat on his wife with the woman who helped him get where he needed to go. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because it's
Right.
about purpose. You find a man, of course, I don't condone any of that stuff, but it's real. It is real out here. Because if you don't find the resources that you need to fulfill your purpose, it creates that void start kicking up, and you're going to want to feed it with your flesh. So whenever you feel that void, you need to find the resource that aligns with your purpose. You haven't been to a jazz club, you haven't heard jazz in a minute, you got rejected from the school where you'd be able to learn jazz. Now you out there, and next thing you got a whole girlfriend, and now you got a baby, and you got all that other stuff because you were hurt that night. And instead of going to the jazz club, the jazz environment, the jazz group, something of the creative arts, you took that void, that pain, and you filled it with flesh. So companionship is really about getting in alignment with the things that are going to push your purpose forward. When you really deep into your purpose, you really do feel booed up. You don't feel alone. You do not feel that void. You feel like you're in the zone. You don't even realize that you're single because you're so locked in. It's when you hit an obstacle or something doesn't work for you, that's when you start entertaining things because you're stuck. You don't know where to go. So instead of seeing that person coming into your life as a resource and saying, I was down, this person came into my life. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this or doing that. What do you do? Would you be able to help me with this? No, you in bed. You in bed with them. Happens every time.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You won't end up with a concubine, and then you'll mess around and marry a concubine, and try to make her a wife.
Mm.
And mm-mm.
Been there, done that.
You try to make her a concubine,
Yeah.
and every woman is not a wife. If you are
Mm.
not a helper, you are not a wife. If you buy into this societal shenanigans talking about, he needed this and he needed that or whatever. No, you got it all wrong. You're not a wife. You're not a suitable helper. You need to know that you are the type of woman that can put up with his crap and you can put up with his purpose. That's what makes you suitable. And a wife is one who will order her conversation. She is
Mm.
one that will be kind and supportive, even if
Yeah.
she doesn't agree. And
Mm.
so if you're not there yet, you're not a wife. You are a woman who wants to be married or a woman who's married or a woman who is married but still operating as single. There are totally different levels to this thing. A
Yep.
suitable helper is someone who helps with what it is that he needs. If he got 3 kids, are you suitable? You got to like kids. You suitable.
Facts.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Man. Nah, I don't have nothing to say. It just this. Thank you, man. Like, just thank you for this sound word. You definitely changed some perspectives tonight. I saw the comments. People were saying, "Wow," and this was very powerful. Um, yeah, that's crazy, mind blown. Like, it's just, yeah, this is something we've been hearing all our lives through pastors and churches and stuff, and now we have that clarity because of you. And yeah, man. So, guys, I definitely encourage you guys to continue to follow Natalie. If you want to drop, it's Natalie Fikes, right, for Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll drop it in the comments.
And I
Um,
just, if everybody could just give one takeaway, I would love to just have one takeaway or something that they're going to do differently. That is very, very important to me.
somebody wrote in the comment. Can you repeat the question?
What is your
Uh,
one takeaway and one thing that you will do differently going forward?
and then Jayla said, "My takeaway is definitely to be mindful once I receive the man God has for me, and to always consult God first." That was big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, don't take what he tells you. Go to God
Yeah,
and
amen.
say,
Yeah,
will you please reveal to me what is inside of this man that I cannot see so that I am able to see if I'm suitable, if I'm compatible, if I have the capacity to do this. God, please reveal to me if this man is anything more than for me to be a resource to him or for him to be a resource to me. Is this the person that you will have for me? Seek to serve first. Stop trying to be so booed up all the time.
that's a whole word.
See if you're even a good helper. You
Yeah,
know,
right. Gotta get practicing, man.
it's a practice it.
Somebody wrote, Shauna wrote one more thing. She said, one takeaway, going to God first. Yes, I agree, Jayla. And one thing that I will do differently and continue is to always look out for the subtleness and being aware of my influence of a woman. I think, yeah, as a woman. Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah.
We are so, aren't we? Tell the truth, X. A woman can
Oh, no,
get
yeah, of
you
course.
to do anything, but why are we trying to get them to do so,
Right,
why,
right,
what is
right.
the motivation behind why you're trying to get this man to do what it is you're trying to get him to do?
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the second. I don't know. I'm gonna keep calling these things episodes, but second episode of Healing Through Transparency. This was such a powerful word. Natalie, we thank you again so much for all those gems, the snatching edges. I'm gonna give y'all guys a little bit of a break. We'll probably do it in like 5 minutes. Just get your water, use the bathroom, do what you gotta do. And yeah, man, this was dope. Until next time, we're gonna do this again next Wednesday. The same time, 8:30 p.m. I forgot again what we're gonna be talking about, but it's all on my IG. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. You guys have a blessed rest of your night.